A GeoBase file is a structured access database. You can open a GeoBase file either with the GeoBase program, which is not standalone, meaning it requires your computer to have Microsoft Access installed, or you can open the file directly with Microsoft Access. As a cautionary warning, we do not recommend making any changes directly to the dataset outside of the GeoBase environment. However, it may be useful to work directly from Access when querying data or exporting information. There are many advantages to using GeoBase over flat files. The first advantage is that you need only import one file. The second and largest advantage is that you do not need to set up the variables in Genesis, because the schema can be read directly from the GeoBase file. This is a really big time saver, and also reduces errors when you have multiple element analyses. Another advantage of GeoBase is that you can run the validation tools directly within the GeoBase environment before importing to Genesis. This allows you to try and catch database issues early and regularly. GeoBase produces a Microsoft Access database to store your geological information. This is not a disadvantage. However, one must be aware of a potential pitfall. When a software such as Genesis imports a Microsoft Access file, the softwares must have the same bit types. This means the version of Access you have installed on your computer will dictate which version of Genesis you need to open for the importation process. If you have a 64-bit version of Access, you will need to install your database through Genesis 64. And likewise, if you have a 32-bit version of Access, you will have to use the Genesis 32-bit version. Let us quickly jump to Microsoft Access. I am currently running a 32-bit version of Microsoft Access on my computer. I'm going to open up the GeoBase demo.mdb file. GeoBase contains all of the tables seen in the navigation pane by default. This file, however, contains the same data as our flat file example from before. So if we open up the callers table, we have the same 92 holes. We also have the same assays. You can also see that if we open up the mineralizations table, it is empty. This is the same as before. We didn't have mineralizations. And that is all I want to illustrate for now. I just want to give you a quick look at what a GeoBase file is and how you can open it through Microsoft Access. Because I have a 32-bit version of Microsoft Access installed on my computer, I'm going to make sure I open Genesis 32-bit version and not my Genesis 64-bit version. I would like to note that once I create my file with Genesis 32, I can later open it in Genesis 64, which runs faster. Like in the previous example, I have an entitled Genesis screen. I'm going to create a new project titled Demo GeoBase. Now, unlike before, when I had to define variables, I'm going to directly import my GeoBase file by clicking Import from GeoBase. You might notice that it is not recognizing my file. This is because Access has two types of file extensions commonly used for its databases, .mdb and .accdb. GeoBase will produce the appropriate file type depending on what version of Access you have on your computer. Typically, Access produces .accdb files. Okay, there it is. I'm going to select my GeoBase demo MDB file and press open. Notice that right away the define variable to import window pops up, and it has pre-selected all our elements, in this case only copper, Cu. Let us go forward and click OK. Notice the importing drill hole data tabbed window. We're going to press OK to simply import our data. However, there are a multitude of importation options that can be used as your project develops, such as appending holes to your data set. This could be useful if you are continuously collecting drill data. And it is that simple. Our data is now imported, and we get a list of data importation, and we can confirm this information with our drill hole database. Let's press OK. As you can see, the importation process has finished, and the drill hole traces have been drawn. If we had issues with the importation process, this is the spot when an import error log would appear and inform us of all potential errors. This is a good time now to save our program and go on to the next topic. I'm going to record this one real time. I'm going to open up my Genesis 32-bit. Okay, now I'm going to start a new Genesis document, and I'm going to call it demo geotech.gnft, and I'm going to save that, and it's saving. Once it's finished saving, it's going to be very similar to the GeoBase importation process. I don't have to define my variables. I can go directly to whole data, import from Geotech. Now, my Geotech file is in demo geotech data. That is where Geotech would store its data. Find my demo geotech.mdb file. I'm going to open that, and it pops up my define variable to import window. Still the same, copper. Select OK. I'm going to select OK again. I don't want to overwrite, append, or anything. It's going to just be a clean, fresh install. It's importing, and it's going to create all my traces. It's finished. I have 92 holes, 5,481 deviations, 1,605 assays, 200 lithologies, 4 structures. The exact same as before. Click OK. Here is my drill hole traces, and I am finished. I'm going to click Save. Genesis has almost finished saving. Done. And that's where we end. We're almost at the end of this video. To recap, Genesis can accept either flat files, GeoBase, or Geotech files as the foundation of its geological data. Our next video, we're going to start exploring what possible issues and errors can arise in the process.